Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Queen's Landing. We're very excited to talk about the latest episode of Game of Thrones titled A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Today, I am joined by my co host, Melissa, and our film editor, Allyson.
Good
So,
evening. Hello.
so I think, I don't know, was this episode what you guys expected it to be?
Um, no, I guess I didn't imagine them doing it's our last night on the earth episode and seeing like what everyone's doing. I did not expect that. I guess I feel like it was okay. Like I'm still not there yet. Like it hasn't blown it off the roof for me just yet.
It wasn't what I expected, but I actually liked it more than I thought I would. I think it did everything that it needed to do last week tonight with all the like emotional payoffs of all of the relationships. It's like I assume Thrones is kind of drag it out as long as they really can for whatever reason, even though we're in the crunch time. So like that part I assumed, but I did think we'd get some of the battle just by the way that the preview showed it from last week. But I'm kind of glad now that we didn't, even though it makes the wait seem that much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm sort of surprised that I thought the battle wasn't going to happen until episode 4 or 5. I thought that was kind of be closer, more on the second half of the season. But I guess, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, because I imagine after the battle, however it ends, there's going to be some time needed to sort of wrap up other parts of the story. I mean, for me, I liked the episode. I really love those just like emotional moments that I just wasn't really expecting at all to get. Um, I really was happy about like the whole Jaime and Brienne scenes together. I think all the Arya and Gendry shippers are very excited tonight. Um,
No, no, no.
no.
I ship them, but I was not ready.
It weirded me out a little bit.
It weirded me out a lot. Are you kidding me?
I'm trying to be like delicate, but it weirded me out.
I was cringing. The thing is
It's
that I don't know. Do you guys feel like it was a natural thing for Arya to do? I just don't see her in that way. Not to say that like she can't be sexual, but I feel like for her character, like that wasn't something that she ever.
I
I don't
always
know.
thought with Gendry they had a very romantically charged relationship. Like even with the lines that she would say, like I remember the whole like "you're my family" or "I'm your family" that was supposed to be delivered like she was saying "I love you." So I do think there's romance. I think there's chemistry there. I think the weird part for me is just that like I've watched her since she was a kid. It's
Exactly.
weird to me,
Like
and I could get over it, I guess, but it was like,
I
oh,
think
you're going there. They did not wait long for her to turn 18
no, they
at
didn't,
all.
and no, they didn't wait. And the thing is also like she stripped down, like she saw her naked, like her whole backside, and she had like some side boob, and I was not ready for that.
Yeah,
Not
it
ready.
did. And it just showed again, by the way, Thrones. Good job. Gendry didn't get a shot, did he?
Oh, I know, really.
It was like, are
Oh
you
my
kidding me?
But I just read an interview, like real quick, when Maisie said that she was reading the script, and she was like, oh my goodness, this is happening." And then she said that the showrunners, like gave her full control about how much she wanted to show. So she definitely did not want to show any nipple, and they just showed like a little bit, and then yeah, that was that.
Well, I'm glad that she had any control over it. I just think the choice to once again have the female star be like bearing it all, and then the man be like, I guess I'll take off part of my shirt
Oh my
off
goodness.
camera. I just think it's so indicative of what Thrones is, and I'll forever be annoyed by it, I suppose. Not as annoyed as last week with Braun and 3 prostitutes just naked. Like, I guess it's a step above that. But
Look,
yeah, no, I mean, I always thought they had a sweet relationship, so I'm not mad about that. I'm just like,
I mean,
I was like, man, they did not wait.
they didn't. I always enjoyed like their flirtation. Like I thought those were really cute and well done scenes. I liked the tension, but I was just not ready for a full blown sex scene. Like, yo, she got the D. She was like, take your own bloody pants off. I was not ready. I was not ready.
Yeah, I was like kind of a little cringing too because I think, I mean, to Allie's point, I mean, to both of your points, it's like we've seen her since she was a kid, and I think it's sort of like watching like your sibling kind of get it on, and you're just like, no, I don't want to.
But
So yeah,
but do you think narratively like Arya and then do you think like that made sense for you?
I I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess I could have seen. I don't think it's that off far off base, honestly. Like not enough to like really argue about it.
Yeah.
But
I assumed something like that was going to happen since they
I thought
reintroduced him to the
I
show.
mean, I thought they were gonna kiss. Like definitely a kiss. But I did not know this was gonna go there.
I guess not, but also if you're like really thinking about it, like if it is the last night on planet Earth and she hasn't before and she wants to, that's the
Yeah.
chance to do it, I
like her
suppose.
reasoning made sense. Like when
Yeah.
I kind of figured since like that very first scene in this episode when she was like pretty much checking him out, I was like, I figured that's where it was gonna lead to,
Yeah.
and
You
it
were like,
did.
oh, they fucking like really?
Yeah, I really thought that.
I
I mean, they
really
had him
thought
all like
this.
sweaty,
I
like
really
the
thought there was
purple
gonna be
over
a kiss.
him.
I did not think they were gonna go all the way there. That has me shook still right now. I'm shook.
So, maybe we'll go to a different coupling, sort of, or
What else happened in the
truffle.
episode? I have no idea.
Well, Jamie and Brienne reunited after such a long time. I mean,
Oh, that's
Jamie's
right.
back at Winterfell. That was one of the main events of the episode. What did you guys think of that reunion?
It was amazing. It was so good. It's the pay. Like, do you mean just their reunion or their entire part this episode? Because I have so
The
many
whole
thoughts
thing.
on knighthood. Like, that might be the most heartwarming the show has ever been. Like, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's just not a heartwarming show. But like, genuinely, I don't think there's a character on the show that deserves that kind of like affirmation moment as much as Brienne does. Like, she is what a knight should be in this kind of universe. Like, she's the epitome of like what they should look up to. And I like that it's kind of this old school version of like who a knight was, kind of passing the torch. So I loved it. I loved their reunion. Jamie's always the best when he's with Brienne, and so is the actor. So everything about it. It was my favorite part of the episode, hands down. I was like, this is the Jamie I loved 4 seasons ago. And Brienne gets her like really quiet hero moment before she gets probably a really huge one next week and hopefully doesn't die.
Oh my God, that'd be so sad.
Yeah.
But I do think this episode sort of set up Jamie to die. I don't know if you guys agree with me there, but I feel like his end's kind of coming soon, especially
I'm-
after Bran told him like, who
Oh.
says there's an after?
Oh.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's gonna make it through the season, or the show. I don't know if next week. I think they're gonna give him one more redeeming or redemptive moment first. I
I
think.
mean, he's a character who's like the most redemptive, like everyone, I think, right? I mean, if you
But I
see where
think
he started, and then I feel like he got like I think he got everything like done in this episode as far as like all his past sins basically.
yeah.
Like getting those sort of redeemed in a way.
Mm.
But I agree that scene between him and Brienne when he knights her is like very, very special. And I'm really glad they kind of took a moment like that whole kind of just like the structure of the episode to take these little moments and sort of give these characters these I don't know, just like I guess repeating moments a lot, but special moments to like really I don't know, make next week's episode hurt a lot more, possibly.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about it recently with somebody because a show that I love recently, a character died, and like I was a disaster. Like I was crying, it was awful. But I was talking about how like I couldn't think of another show that had that kind of impact, and Game of Thrones was like the only one, but I still couldn't think of a character that I'm so emotionally invested in that it would devastate me if they died. Because there's kind of this cold attachment now, especially after they've like shocked us so many times with like who dies, and it could be anybody and whatever. But I think what this episode did really well was remind us why we would care. And I think that's really important coming into like the home stretch of this is like we can't just watch them all get picked off and be like, ugh, whatever, who's next? Like I think there needs to be emotional investment in it. Otherwise, it's just shock value for the sake of it, which is why I kind of like that they slowed things down a little bit, because there was always this tension throughout the episode where you're like, things are going to get fucked next week. Whereas like, but again, now we care. Now we're like, oh, but Brienne just became a knight and these people are just reconciling and whatever. And it's all going to be ripped away from them. And I don't know. I just think that the show has been kind of cold for too long, that I liked that it kind of reminded us that it can have a heart sometimes before it cuts it out of the characters.
Yeah, it's going to be rough next week.
Yes, I'm excited for next week.
I think the next big part of the episode is the talk between, well, there's a lot of little things that are happening. So there's that talk between Daenerys and Sansa, where essentially Sansa confronts Daenerys, okay, like, you're here now, but, like, after the war, if we survive this, like, what about the North? And this idea that the North's not going to side with her.
I was, like, wondering where is this going exactly, and I was confused because I know that she's already calling her queen, and she said the North is yours, your grace, in episode 1, but now she's saying what happens after, like, we promised that we wouldn't bend the knee or anything. So I don't know exactly what was happening there, but I do like the scene because I feel like, you know, Jorah kind of told her you have to make nice with the lady of Winterfell, and I kind of liked how that scene played out because they're kind of, I don't know, I guess they're kind of, it kind of felt like they're trying to like play each other in some way. So it was interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's just a really interesting scene because I think we see where they're both at and what they're willing to give to each other. And Daenerys seems like she just wants sort of complete fealty, where Sansa's like kind of reserving that because I think first she wants to see what happens after this war, and then I think she understands that her brother loves her and she doesn't trust men like who are in love with women.
Yeah. I get why the scene was there. I thought it kind of ruined the momentum. I think it should have been last week. But I thought it made sense why Sansa turned at the end, because I think she did realize all of a sudden that that Dany was play acting it nice. And I think once she saw through that, she was like, never mind. Like, I'm just going to think about it. You know, I've been screwed over by people in positions of power trying to pretend they're my friend for so long. And I just don't think she has room for friends, in all honesty. I think she only trusts a fair few people, and Brienne might be the only real one. And I don't know. I think what's interesting is that I do think it sets it up for after next episode. It's why I think the battle's coming so soon, is because I think afterwards they're setting it up for, you know, the Seven Kingdoms to be at war with each other again. It's like no matter what, things just return to old patterns of people trying to be in power, even though they've seen the literal end of the world. People are
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think there's this like, we're going to have this battle and then there's still going to be problems. There's still going to be like these sort of like who gets the throne in the end. And what's interesting is that I did see that whole play acting with her kind of saying, I came here for love. And we're like, we don't really think, I mean, I just was like, I kind of saw that through that too. And I was like, okay, Daenerys. But what I thought was interesting was like Jorah was the one who sent her to go talk to her. And Jorah is sort of doing these little things. he's kind of acting as her hand, and he sends Tyrion to the crypt. And what else does he do? I mean, I don't know. I felt like he was kind of like setting up some pieces, and not like in a malicious way, but in a way that I think protects her afterward. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he was advising her because she needed some advice. She was, pissed off at Tyrion for being wrong again, which I love when people do that, because I feel like you're kind of speaking for the fans. Like, what's up with his character? Like, he used to be the smartest person in the room.
I
And
mean, he kind of fucked up being the hand in season 2 a little bit too, though.
like towards the end, you mean? Like at
I
the
thought
end?
so. He's made a lot of dumb decisions because of, like he said, the whole like clever people tend to, underestimate other people because we think we're the smartest people in the room.
Yeah.
But Jorah is such a nice guy type that I don't trust anything he does ever. I really like him and the actor, but I just think.
But I do. I mean, I feel like he is really devoted to Daenerys, though. So I don't think like he's like, I feel like he is trying to help her, because maybe he could sense that she was about to do something at impulse. Maybe drive away Tyrion, but maybe he still sees the value in having Tyrion as her hand. So he wanted to talk her down and be like, no, like we still need him. He's valuable. We got to protect him. Send him to the crypts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting, sort of to see him kind of assume that role in a way, and then later on, Sam gives him his family's sword, which I thought was interesting, and I think it almost feels like it helped. I don't know. Do you guys think he'll survive the battle next week, especially with that sword now?
No.
Or
no?
He'll bite it. The only other one that I am as certain is going to die is Grey Worm. And that's because they gave him like the kiss of death scene of like, we're going to escape this place and go live happily ever after. You're going to die. So bad.
Yeah. And it's.
But yeah, no, I think he's going to do something really heroic. But I think he's going to die. He's kind of run his use of the show. So now I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think we kind of covered all the main stuff, unless I'm missing.
Danny and John at the end had a bit of a moment.
Oh yes, God, sorry.
Danny and John. I think
that doesn't seem important anymore.
I know.
I think that felt like they're setting up maybe like a low key secret third battle where it's like John v Daenerys. Maybe did you guys feel that? I don't know.
I think it's gonna happen after the Day of the Dead or whatever.
It's gonna happen after the Cersei battle. Like, there's like a lot of battles I feel, because they still have to deal with Cersei.
I don't think John even wants the throne. So I hate it. It was one of the cheapest things to do. I hate it when they do the whole like a character says one thing and then the other one gets mad but doesn't listen to them say their part at all. They just like walk off angry or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna. Wouldn't you think her main problem would be that she's been sleeping with her nephew?
Yeah, but he also didn't react to the fact that he was sleeping with his aunt in episode 1. Like, he did not react to that part.
Rude. I don't know. I think he was a little upset by that.
He's been staying away from her, so maybe that was like his reaction.
However, the Targaryens like slept together forever.
He was mad that his dad lied to him his whole life. He never mentioned, wait, she's my aunt? Like, neither of them care about being aunt and nephew.
Yeah, again, because that's the Targaryen way, apparently, is that they, like, in the books, like, literally, they always slept with each other. They kept it in the family because they wanted, like, pure blood Targaryens.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I think Daenerys knows her parents were brother and sister, right? So...
yeah.
So I think it's almost like a non-thing at this point.
It's not going to get addressed at all.
It's, it doesn't get addressed, but I guess that's just the way it goes in Westeros. But a question, because I feel like she immediately questions it and doesn't believe it right away. And then that reaction makes him react. So I feel like, is that reaction from his point of view telling? Because first... he was making like that face like, oh my God, like really? Like, you don't believe me? So I feel like, do you think that's going to kind of fuel this thing that Sam said last episode? Like, do you think she would ever give up her crown? maybe like her reaction to him is kind of proof of that. Like she would never let this go.
I definitely think she would never give up her crown.
But I'm saying Jon, do you think Jon would fight Daenerys for the throne? Do you think like the way she reacted gives him pause to let her be the queen?
I don't think he would fight her for the throne for the sake of getting the throne. I think if his family was put in danger because of her claim and the only way to save it was to fight for power, I think he would. Especially after Arya's line about not forgetting that we're family in last episode. Like, I don't think that was said as a line to forget as the season progresses. Especially, I think it was last season. There's the whole pack mentality with the Starks also. Like, I think he's going to fight. I don't think it's because he wants the power himself, though.
But why would his family, like, do you think Daenerys is going to do something to the Starks, though?
I think she'll
Sansa.
Yeah.
Man.
I also think Daenerys is like a dictator with dragons. So, like, I think she's crazy. And I don't want her to win. So there's that.
Explain dictatorship, because she did free a whole bunch of slaves.
To then, like, make sure that anybody she ever came in contact with had to follow her or she would kill them. Like, I think she, like, a dictator is the wrong word. Conqueror?
She is a conqueror, but just like her ancestor Aegon the Conqueror was.
I don't know. That's good example. Yeah, no.
I mean, it just seems like she's not a very merciful person. I mean, basically, she's proven in the last like 2 seasons that she will, and before that she will kill anyone who doesn't follow her, who doesn't like bend a knee.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like she will.
Crazy Targaryen blood.
So, like, the question is that is brought up is like if she has to choose between saving the kingdom and her throne, which is she gonna choose?
Well, she's choosing now. She's choosing to go north and help the Starks fight the North. I mean, fight the army of the dead.
She's gonna choose her crown.
No, but then like now that it's in danger, I mean, do you think like I guess the way I'm asking is like because she's doing that because she feels like she still has the throne in her head right now. So it's different. Like I mean, at the end of the day, like if the North turns on her after the battle, like is she gonna just obliterate the North because they're not gonna bend a knee, like Sansa says pretty much, like because look, Sansa's probably not going to bend a knee, even if they, if everything goes like okay.
Yeah, I don't see her giving up the throne for that kind of thing. I really don't. I think if Jon hadn't said he would kneel to her, I don't think she'd be helping.
Yeah, basically.
I don't think so at all. I think him swearing his loyalty to her is what kept her on.
Made her go up north because she felt like he was technically the king of the North, so that would be her kingdom now that he bent the knee to her.
Yeah.
So if he never had bent the knee, like he literally had to, she wouldn't. I mean, he was kind of like manipulated into it,
He bent the knee after she saved his ass when he was fighting zombies.
Yeah, but I feel like he was still kind of like, I don't know.
Post-attacked delirious.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Jon Snow is a dumb boy, and like telling her at that exact moment the truth was suspect and just like kind of foolish and very stark man of him. But I think his foolishness comes from the fact that he's good. And I think with her, she's had to survive, and I think that's warped her mind a little bit. And I think I don't see her being the hero of this story. Let's put it that way. I have a feeling we're gonna get much more of an antagonist version of her before the ending comes.
It sort of reminded me of like the first season when Ned kind of confronts Cersei about Joffrey being not the real heir to the throne.
Another dumb moment on a list of Stark moments.
and that ended up making Cersei go one step ahead of him and essentially like led to his death. So I don't know if they're trying to mimic that because that's like literally what I thought of when I was watching tonight. Like by telling Daenerys this information, will she? I mean, I guess it's a true test of like who she is as a person. If she's good or if she care, if she cares about John and the people, or if she really does just care about her throne. So
I think Melissa and I are pretty opposed on this, but I think she is so clearly Team Throne.
I don't know. At all. It's just, I guess, because the thing is, I'm thinking about Daenerys' journey, right? Like from season 1, her being like this meek kid that her brother sold her into like this sex slave, basically, and then like she's gone through a lot. Like it's hard for me to imagine her just being fully like evil by the end. Like there's like a lot,
and like I feel like a lot of her big character growth, like from being that meek girl to whatever, happened all in season 1. And then after that, it's just been her like acquiring more and more armies and getting more powerful. And she's been so separated from everyone that I just think she has like this total disconnect from how other kingdoms work. So whereas Jon, Sansa, and Arya have traveled the world and immersed themselves in terms of like, they've been on both sides. Like I think Sansa's a better example of how to come out of this being good. She was also treated terribly, sold to people who abused her, worked with the enemy and whatever. And the difference is that she's not just trying to conquer for power. She's trying to keep her people alive. And I think that's what makes those two really interesting comparisons and characters to work against, is that, yeah, they're both women who have been treated like shit, but one has some humanity. I don't know. I don't like Daenerys though, and that I'm biased.
Well, I'm biased.
Well, like, that's part of my problem too. Is like I think she's a villain. I think she's going to be. Not yet, but I think she's going to be.
Agree with that. I don't think she's a villain. Like, who's a villain? Like, Cersei's a villain. Cersei's a clear villain.
But at least she's interesting.
The Night King is a villain. Like Daenerys is not a villain. I could be saying this now and then I'm like completely wrong by like episode like 4, but
like she's clearly not yet. But I think the way they've depicted her the last 2 episodes makes it seem like that's the direction they want to go. Like but just the way they're doing things.
If she would have turned into a villain, what did she go through all these past 6 seasons for? Like, why did we go through that with her?
The same reason why we went through everything with Ned in season 1, just for them to kill him. Being like, he's your protagonist.
He started out good and then he died good. If they turn her into a villain, why did I waste my time watching this show?
She's the only reason.
I don't think she's like a pure villain. I think she's more like an anti-hero, I guess, if you want to like kind of give her. I mean, because she has good intentions in her mind.
Yeah. No, I'm painting with purposeful broad brushes here. I don't think she's a mustache twirling villain. I just think she's not being set up to be the hero. Just from the way they're writing it. I really, and not just my bias. I think the way they're shooting it even to show like people like Sam, the heart of the show kind of, not like her.
Yeah.
I think that's a sign.
I mean, but
maybe she'll become the Night
King. He is biased as well, since she did burn the brother and father because they wouldn't bend the knee. But that's the same thing that Aegon Targaryen did, and then he ruled for like a long time peacefully. So I don't know.
I'll be curious. I hope I'm wrong because I don't see them. Even if I don't like Daenerys, I don't see them wrapping up a storyline with her becoming bad with me liking it either. Because like I think that is kind of cheap. So I want them to prove me wrong. But man, they're not. It's like they're giving Jon such a hero spotlight and Sansa such a hero look. And then the way they just paint Daenerys is just kind of like, well, what are you trying to do? You have like a couple episodes left.
Yeah.
How are you going to do this? I don't trust you to do this well or delicately at all.
Yeah, I'm just not, I don't know. I guess I'm not loving where they're going with it, because I feel like they are painting her like in this light where it's like, oh, she wants this power, she just wants the throne, like that's what it's feeling like, seemingly like.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely what they're making us think. Maybe it's just to up the tension between her and John, and then I don't know, maybe it'll fall flat in the end for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking like there's no way this show ends well. Like I feel like it probably won't be good. I could be wrong, but
wouldn't that be so obvious?
what?
I'd be so
What?
bored at the idea if they all like just die. It's like you did it, Game of Thrones. You shocked us. Like I'd be more surprised if somebody got a happy ending.
I mean,
my
is that boring, or is them living all happily ever after?
Not happily after.
More boring.
Not happily ever after. I think some of them deserve a happy ending.
Yeah, I mean, half will die, and then the other half may like.
We'll make do with whatever's left.
Yeah, like, but if like the Night King's sitting on the throne, I'll be like, fuck, why did I invest that much time? I'm sorry.
Oh my god, people would be so angry. It should just be like the Sopranos ending and cut to black.
Cut to black.
People will riot in the streets.
But like, I mean, well, from our debate here, I have to ask. So you two would be fine and not be bored if Jon Snow is king of Westeros?
I don't think that would make any narrative sense. So I wouldn't be bored because I'd be so surprised that that's the way they went.
Yeah, because I just like he's so reluctant to be king that it would just like if to see him on the throne, it would just not look right. Because you just know he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I'd be bored if it's something like Gendry. I mean, kind of be like, what? Come on. But I mean, I kind of think the throne's irrelevant. Like, that's not the part I'm curious in anymore. I'm curious in about all the side characters who have had like actual personal growth. But I'll be annoyed if they're bleak for the sake of bleak. Like, that's what will annoy me. If they're just like shock value once again, everybody's miserable and everybody dies in a really gory way.
They haven't done that in 2 seasons, though.
Yeah. I mean, I realized like once they stopped, like once they couldn't follow the books anymore, a lot of those deaths kind of like stopped. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Season 6 and 7 were like the first times that like the good guys were having like the W's, like they were kind of winning.
Right. Yeah. And like all the people we didn't like started like Littlefinger finally got bit to dust. And
Ram.
Yeah.
So I think it will be bittersweet, but I have a fear that it still will not be like will it make narrative sense? Does this feel like it makes sense? I don't know if it'll be good. I just think there's so many storylines to wrap up. Is this Winterfell battle gonna be 2 episodes or just 1?
1, I think, but I think it's really long. Isn't it like an hour and a half?
It's gonna be like an 80-minute episode. So it's like a little mooning movie, I guess.
I mean, that does make me curious. Since it's so soon, like, what happens after that battle? Will they go straight for Cersei? Or will Cersei surprise them by going up north with her new super army? Like, what is going to happen after that?
I have no idea. I mean, I feel like the episodes after, I think all the episodes are like 80 minutes, I think from this point on. So they're all going to be very long. So I think there's room to kind of, I don't know. They have to have some kind of vision in mind for this. I mean, to only ask for this amount of episodes. So
I think it's going to be the Helm's Deep. And I am psyched for it because I think there's a lot of like storytelling possibilities within a battle. And I think Game of Thrones' best episodes have been their big battle ones to me for the most part. But so I'm excited for it to take up that amount of time because like I get really excited and kind of giddy with that stuff. But like,
yeah, I think I've been waiting for this battle, so I'm really excited to see what they do next week.
I just want all my Starks to make it out alive. I mean, Bran, I have a feeling is going to bite it, but the other Starks, I really want.
Same.
Yeah. Same.
They've been through a lot.
So I think now it's time to go through our little sections. So our first one up is Week of the Week, which basically we kind of share who our least favorite character of the week was. Do you guys have a
Gabby?
pick?
I can't think of one right now. Hold on.
Oh God. Allie, do you have one?
Do you have
Honestly,
one?
and this isn't just to push a button. Daenerys
She's
only
gonna
because
do it.
she was at the center, because she was just at the center of some of my least favorite scenes. You know, like her and Sansa dialogue, her being the one to push back on Jaime, her being annoyed immediately at the Jon stuff. And more, this is a testament to how much I enjoyed the episode, because there was no singular character who I was like, ugh, you know? It's like I'm picking Daenerys because of the material itself and how I'm predicting it's going to go. Like, I think it was actually a really strong episode and I enjoyed every part. I'm really, really trying to think of a character, like even a minuscule one, you know?
Yeah.
Think of one.
But
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I think it has to be her, I guess, technically.
for me,
I can't think of one.
I agree. I think a lot of characters had good moments in this. They didn't really spend a lot of time with bad characters. So my pick was just like out of annoyance was Jon Snow at the end for telling her. Like right before the battle.
No,
It was so annoying.
It's like, right now, dude.
Like right now, like this is important to tell her. Like, yeah. And he just seemed to be like so out of it throughout the whole episode. Like he really just
Yeah. I feel like he was probably like arguing with himself, like, when do I tell her? Do I tell her? What do I do? What do I do?
I wonder also if it was like Kit Harington was really busy having to shoot those battle scenes.
Maybe.
So they had to kind of reserve energy. He's going to go through the ringer next week.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. I don't have a pick. I don't know if I'm allowed to skip this round, because I really don't know who to say.
Yeah, you can skip.
Okay, I'll skip.
Okay. So our next one is our Lord and Lady Commander, which is basically your MVP of this week's episode.
Okay.
Do you guys have a pick?
I do, but I didn't want to monopolize the start of the
Okay.
So as much as I feel like I am on, it's like weird. I'm on everyone's side, but I feel like I'm still on Daenerys' side. But having said that, I will pick Sansa as my lady commander this episode, because I also see her side of it. Like, I understand she doesn't want to give up her home because she fought so hard to get it back, that I so understand her. That's why it's really hard for me. Okay, I like them both, but
I don't think they're ever
see
going to be
Sansa's
friends.
side. I don't know. I really like that she's kind of like not afraid and she stands up to Daenerys. She straight up tells her, like, you shouldn't have trusted Cersei either. And I like her. I like her standing up for her home. And I always just love seeing her being in the room and like speaking to these men and these lords, saying like, this is what we're gonna do, you know. And I also loved her moment that we didn't talk about, her little reunion with Theon, because, you know, they're basically kind of family, like they grew up together. So I like that moment where she kind of lets herself kind of break a little bit, because she cries a little bit and then she goes to hug him, and then by the end they're having dinner together. So she kind of has like this like cool exterior, but she's also kind of getting she also wants to, you know, feel, she's also letting herself feel things and not just being like this like hard ass lady of Winterfell.
So that when Theon dies next week, protecting her, we'll feel it. He's my third character I think is going to definitely bite it next week.
Yeah, he may. So yeah, I'll pick Sansa this week.
Cool. Allie, you have a pick?
Brienne, 100%. And I don't even know if it's a fair pick, because like I guess Jaime kind of like started it, but like Gwendolyn Christie was so good. So like it's kind of like she's my MVP, but it's Brienne because again, I just think, you know, all these characters are so gray. Like all of them are morally ambiguous half the times because they have to kind of shift loyalties for the sake of survival, and that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes us like the show. And she's just loyal. And I think if anybody's gotten the hero's journey treatment, it's her. And this is kind of like the culmination moment of it. And in the books, we didn't get to explore her as much as I would have liked. And the stuff with her was always so good that I'm glad that out of every character, she's the one we've gotten to spend more time with past what the books allowed. Because I just think she had the most kind of empathetic journey, I guess. I love her though. She like so I genuinely was so moved by that moment.
So my pick is kind of a little unorthodox because I figured, you know, you guys picked really two good ones, so I'm just gonna pick Tormund for just being like the comic relief of this episode. His story about the giant's milk like was cracking me up. It was just so disgusting. So and
Weird
and him drinking, and you see like the milk like coming down his beard. It was gross, but it's hilarious. So
wish to have that level of unearned confidence.
I know. I mean, he even disarms Brienne, and she's pretty like hard to, you know, like take off guard, but he does. He takes everyone off guard. So I know.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I know everyone's always surprised that he's still alive, and I don't even know if he'll survive next week, but it was just if not, I mean, he really had a good kind of like nice moment in this episode.
Talking about giant's milk.
Yeah.
But can we honorable mention that little girl who's like, I want to fight? And then they're like, you'll protect us down in the crypt, because I thought that was adorable. And I'm glad that they showed like a little girl wanting to fight too.
Yeah. And she,
like, that was really sweet.
That scar like Shireen did. So I feel like that's why he was like kind of really connecting with this little chick.
Yeah. And then Lady Mormont, she was, you know, telling her cousin off about not fighting.
I love that their sigil is the bear, because you just see these two people like totally stubbornly arguing with each other, and you know that there's this little force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the young women on this show have become a force to reckon with. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to elect to bypass the swing the sword segment, because I feel like I don't know if you guys have anyone you want to kill in this episode.
No,
do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I figured it was all good people for the most part. Well, debatable for Allie.
Right now, I want to like clarify. I don't think Daenerys right now is a bad person. For sure, not a bad character.
Yeah.
The way they've written it the last 2 episodes really makes me think that's the way they're going to go with her, though.
That makes me so sad. Can I be honest?
Yeah. No, I figured.
Because I feel like in a way you're probably right. And I don't know. Like I think about when I first started watching this show, like her storyline is the first one that like caught my attention, just because of how she started out and she kind of turned that situation around. And it's just seeing her like grow and stuff. So it's gonna kind of break my heart as a fan of hers to see her go that way. So that's why I'm kind of like, what? Yeah.
No, same. I mean, I really loved her in the first season. I kind of started souring probably as they went on, as they kind of became more one note with her trajectory. But I think it's lazy. I think they could create conflict that's more interesting, and maybe I still wouldn't be like a hardcore fan of hers, but I wouldn't be like, come on, you know, like it would seem cheap. So I'm hoping I'm wrong, which I am a lot. I'm not good at predicting things. So like,
well, speaking of predicting things, do you guys want to do our green sight segment, or are you feel like we green sighted enough?
I am happy to hear you too if you have green sight. I feel like I try not to predict stuff so I could just watch the show.
I don't know, Ellen, do you have any big theories that you think are going to happen?
I only have guests. I'm not very good at, I really am not very good at theorizing. And with Avengers coming out this week too, I'm kind of like, just keep me out of it right now.
Yeah.
But I do think, and this is just from somebody who watches a lot of movies and film, they gave Grey Worm, Jorah, and Theon some big old, like, you're gonna die signs. So I think those three might be some of our first casualties. And I would not be surprised if Bran dies next week, especially the way Tyrion sat down to talk with him. I have a feeling that's his clever way of keeping those memories and stories alive as history and kind of using his cleverness. I'm not sure. I think that's a leap. But I those are the four characters who I'm like, I don't think they're safe.
Right.
For the next
That's a good point you make about Tyrion sitting down with Bran. I do think he's going to know something that not everyone else was going to know. He's probably going to... Do you think Tyrion's going to know that about Jon being the real heir? Do you think Bran is going to tell him that?
I don't know. I
think he'll find out soon. I don't know if Bran did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if he thinks it's important for Tyrion to know, you know? Like, I think he's very, like, keeping what knowledge he wants.
True.
Like, he didn't even tell them that the Night King would be looking for him until, like, the really most dire moment.
True, yeah. So...
As soon as he said that, like, well, Bran is going to be bait. That's how it has to be.
I like how, and I like how he just tells him this now. Like maybe we should have moved you or something. I don't know. Instead of put you right in the heart of where everyone is. Oh,
we know
well.
that dragon and send you away somewhere.
So I guess that's a wrap. Do you guys have anything else to add about this week's episode?
I'm still thinking about the Arya and Gendry thing. I'm still disturbed. I'm so disturbed.
My only thing is, are either of you Lord of the Rings people at all?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm a casual fan.
The song that What's-His-Face sings is so reminiscent of the song Pippin sings in Return of the King. And they're getting their Lord of the Rings moods mixed up because it has such a Helm's Deep, Two Towers vibe mixed with that song. And I just like I know that's a deep, weird cut to have, but I love those movies so much. And the song sounds strikingly similar, and I just don't know if it was purposeful or not. So I'm hoping to kind of dig deep and see if anybody else caught it. Like, please, one other person catch it so that I don't feel like such a dweeb. But like,
yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I mean, I like them. I can't say I'm a knowledgeable fan. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you can say you're not a nerd.
Okay, guys. So I think that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe to us at TYF Official on YouTube. And tune in next week after Game of Thrones airs when we'll be discussing the Battle of Winterfell and what happened. And oh my god, I don't even know.
And you guys, in the comments, let us know. Do you think Daenerys might be the other villain of this story? Let us know.
Yep. All right, and you can follow us on Twitter at sorry, it's late. Our handles are on the screen. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. Good night, guys.